All right, let's learn about crimes.
On the Saturday evening of July 23rd, 2016, 23-year-old dental student Kaylee Sawyer attended a bachelorette party in the small city of Bend, Central Oregon. She was seen dancing at the Mavericks bar with her two friends at roughly 10:45 p.m. and was reportedly highly intoxicated at the time. An hour and a half later, at 12:04 a.m., she called her long-term...
Keffels, you're not the worst people, though. You're delightful. I enjoy your content. I like that time when you dunked on the president of Romania. Those are all based in epic things to do. I haven't, say, hosted a pedophile. I haven't raided into a pedophile's channel or hosted them on my channel. That you know, and I don't think you're a bad bean. Okay, you're a good bean, and I would feed you many milkshakes. The special milkshakes that bring all the boys to the yard. Keffels is pug. I don't know what I'm saying. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I'm just giving into being a milky mommy. I just had a banana flavored milkshake. Milkshake? No more milkshakes? Okay. One v one me in ultimate? Okay, but I'll beat you and you'll be sad. The milkshakes are spiked with estrogen? Oh no. I'm not the one spiking the milkshakes with estrogen, though. It's Joe Biden. He personally is grinding up all that estradiol and putting it into your milkshakes. He personally drives by with a giant bag full of titty Skittles, and when someone's like, hello, I would like a milkshake, he dumps 25 pills in. That is why fish are growing titties, and frogs are giving each other French kisses, and men are becoming hot, sexy MILFs, okay? It's because Joe Biden has been pursuing his plan of not forced feminization. That's what they want you to think. Joe Biden has been pursuing his plan of secret feminization for years upon years. That has been his plan all along. You're already transed. You just don't know it yet. Anyway, crimes.
Term boyfriend Cameron to come pick her up. He said he would, and arrived just 6 minutes later. During the short drive back to their shared apartment, they got into an argument after Kaylee admitted to talking with another guy at the bar. Cameron got annoyed and accused her of flirting with someone else, at which point Kaylee got extremely aggravated and asserted he had done something similar the week before, and that she hadn't attacked him for it. When they arrived at their Alpine Meadows apartment complex, Kaylee was in tears. Her boyfriend told her to take a minute to cool off, and went up to their second-story apartment at exactly 12:14 a.m. Kaylee was left in the car with the keys, but by 12:24, she still hadn't come up. Cameron went back down thinking she had passed out, but when he got to his car, it was empty, with the passenger side door left open and the keys left on the driver's seat.
It's okay, Nova. I'm sure Entramo has already
clipped it. Her phone rang
it.
out, so he sent her a text asking where she was and got a reply within 3 minutes. She told him she was sorry she wasn't good enough for him, and then said goodbye. Assuming she was walking to her friend's house roughly 4 miles away, he got back in his car and drove up and down College Way trying to find her, only because he wanted to drive her to her friend's so she wouldn't have to walk in the middle of the night. He couldn't find her, and wasn't aware of her friend's exact address, so he assumed she had arrived at her destination. Cameron then went to sleep, thinking that the best time to talk would be when Kaylee was sober in the morning, but when he tried calling her again at 9 a.m., it went straight to voicemail. Kaylee's phone remained off throughout the day, and her presence on social media abruptly ceased. Her friends and family grew increasingly concerned, and a missing persons report was filed at exactly 7:31 p.m. to the Redmond Police Department. As Kaylee's boyfriend and being the person she lived with
God damn
can't
it.
make someone the prime suspect and the central focus of an investigation. Yet the Redmond police would later testify that they were confident he was innocent.
He was forthright with us the entire time. He allowed us to look at his computer, allowed us to look at his phone, allowed us to look in the car, allowed us to go through the apartment. He was so cooperative from the get-go. We've had suspects, boyfriends, husbands, spouses, that have done these similar things that also act obviously cooperative to try to steer us off them. So we weren't ignoring him, but it's hard to put into words. You do this long enough and sometimes you can just tell when almost like the fear or the sadness isn't genuine, you know? And
Hell yeah. We're
see that
super
he
cops,
truly
brother.
had no idea where she was.
Investigators then switched their focus. They wanted to find
Fox
the
and
identity of the man Kaylee was talking to in the bar the night before. So the next step was to check surveillance and interview each of Kaylee's friends that were out with her that night. However, none of this was carried out, as the very next morning the first lead would emerge. Police officer Isabel Ponce Lara arrived at the Redmond Police Department, stating she had information about the missing girl and that it involved her own husband.
He's like, I kill a woman, that's what he said. And I'm like, what do you mean? Then he's like, I hit her with the car.
And what did you say to that?
So I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you hit her? And he's like, yeah, I hit her and I panic. So then I asked him, like, that's what I was trying for him to explain to me. So you hit her with the car, that's an accident.
Yeah.
Why? What do you mean you panic? What do you mean?
And what did he say?
He just kept saying I panic, and at that point he's already, like, he got up and he's already, like, going into the room and walking back and forth. And I'm not really quite understanding what he's telling me. And then he just kept saying, I need to go, I need to go. And then right before he left, he's like, there's her stuff in the shed. It wasn't making any sense to me. But when I saw the stuff, I'm like, oh fuck.
Her husband was 31-year-old Edwin Lara, a campus security guard at Central Oregon Community College. He drove a work-issued public safety vehicle, which, much like a police car, had a partition divider that separated the front and back seats, and the back doors were unable to be opened from the inside. It was just 30
It's
hours
Shut
after
the
the
Fuck
missing
Up
persons
Friday,
investigation
Sloopbringer.
was launched, and police now had their prime suspect. All they knew was that he told his wife he had accidentally killed the victim, stole her firearm before fleeing, and was now unreachable, with his whereabouts unknown. The Redmond police then checked the shed that was mentioned in his wife's statement and made a gruesome discovery. Inside a trash bag was Kaylee's purse, clumps of blonde hair, and a large rock that was covered in blood. The evidence disputed the fact that Kaylee had been hit with a car. Police came to the assumption that the rock was most likely a murder weapon, and the clumps of blonde hair had been ripped out of Kaylee's head as she was subdued, and most likely raped. The Redmond police then switched Kaylee's case from a missing person to a homicide, and her family were made aware that in all likelihood, their daughter was no longer alive. That same evening, at exactly 8:45 p.m., 19-year-old Andrea May walked out to her car after working a double shift at a clothing store in Salem, 2 hours north of where Kaylee went missing. She took a quick selfie on Snapchat and was scrolling through her Facebook newsfeed when all of a sudden a stranger, armed with a gun and wearing a bulletproof vest, opened the passenger side door and got in. He pointed the weapon at her and told her to start driving. Out of fear of her life, she obeyed. He then told her to drive to California, which was a 10-hour journey, but made her pull over after just 1 hour so they could switch seats and he took over the driving. After almost 3 hours, he stopped at a roadside motel in Southern Oregon. He told Andrea to pretend to be his girlfriend, and that if she alerted any suspicion or even made eye contact, he would immediately kill both her and the clerk. The moment he got the keys was captured on surveillance. The clerk would later testify that he knew something was off, as the girl had clearly been crying due to makeup running down her face, and also seemed nervous and fidgety the entire time. Once inside the motel room, Edwin handcuffed Andrea to the bed and demanded that she took sleeping pills. She initially refused, at which point Edwin pulled out a syringe and said she could either take them willingly or forcefully. She then swallowed 3 tablets of unknown strength, but was smart enough to warn him that she had an STD and passed out soon after. They left the motel early the next morning before daylight and continued on to Northern California. By the time they got to Wairika, Edwin noticed the car was leaking oil, so he pulled over at another motel for the purpose of stealing a new vehicle. Andrea pleaded with him to leave her behind, but Edwin told her she had to come with him, and that if she ran, he wouldn't hesitate to shoot her in the back. They walked up to a middle-aged man unloading his car. Edwin pulled out the gun and demanded the keys, but the man refused and yelled out for help instead, at which point he was shot in the stomach. Edwin then grabbed Andrea's arm and ran from the motel toward the gas station next door. They got to a car carrying a family of 3 people, including an elderly woman. Edwin forced Andrea to get in the back seat as he got in the passenger seat, then held the driver at gunpoint as he made him drive away from the scene. He let the family out 15 minutes later, but forced Andrea into the front seat, despite her continuous pleas to let her go. Moments later, he recorded a video on her phone, detailing who he was and what he had done. He then made her post it to her Facebook page and title it "Murderer on the Loose." Edwin then called his wife and his family, all of whom told him to turn himself in. He then called 911 at exactly 6:52 a.m.
911 emergency reporting.
Yes, hi. This is Edwin Lara, and I'm the guy on Interstate 5. You know, I am wanted for murder in the state of Oregon.
Okay. Edwin, where are you at right now? Can you stop?
I am going to stop once I hit Reading. Once I'm in Reading, I'm going to...
Yo, just like the way... What voice? Hey, yeah, I'm that guy who did the murder. You know, I'm driving down the interstate. It's kind of a nice day. Well, brother, let me tell you, it's been a weird morning. You know, I stopped for gas earlier, and I told you about the murder, right?
Okay, can you tell me where you are right now?
I have no idea.
Are you by yourself, or?
No, I have someone with me. I kidnapped her in Oregon. She's innocent. Her name is Andrea. I'll let her give her a lap name so you can call her family, okay?
Okay.
Just give me a second.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, what's your name?
Andrea?
Are you hurt at all, Andrea?
No.
No? Okay. Let me talk to Edwin again.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, Edwin, you're heading southbound on 5?
Yeah, I'm heading southbound on 5. I'm passing a state trooper, a highway patrol right now.
You're what, sir?
I'm passing a highway patrol.
Are you able to safely find somewhere to stop?
I'm not going to stop right here. I'm just going to turn myself in Corning. Okay?
Are you going to Corning Police, or where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going to Corning Police. But I want to ask you a favor.
Uh-huh.
So I have asthma.
You have asthma? Okay.
Yeah, so you tell them not to be too rough on me because, you know, I can barely breathe right now. All right, so that's all I wanted to say.
You
know,
need
I don't
any
want...
kind of medical, or?
Yeah, well, I think so. I'm going to need my inhaler. I forgot my inhaler at home. You know, I went all over Salem, Oregon looking for an inhaler, but I guess they don't sell it, you know, behind the counter or out of counter. So
What a weird interaction.
Edwin, how fast are you going?
I'm going about 120 miles an
You're
hour
going
right
about
now.
120 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Can you slow down?
What the fuck?
Well, I want to make it there quick. That way I can turn myself in.
Well, the officer sees you. We just don't want you to speed away from anything. If you can stop and just give yourself in, it'll probably be easier.
Well, there's an officer behind me right now.
Okay, they see you. We're talking to them. They see you.
Yeah, she's seeing me. I think it's a she. She's right behind me.
Okay, the officer sees you, and are you able to safely stop?
Yeah, I can stop, but not right now. I'll stop in Corning.
What's the difference from stopping now in Corning?
I just don't want to stop right here in the middle of the road, you know, putting myself in danger and putting everybody else in danger, more in danger, I guess.
Edwin, you have any weapons with you?
You killed people.
Yeah, that's what I was
What
going
the
to say. I
fuck?
do have a gun on me. I am not gonna flash the gun, so you tell them not to shoot me.
Okay.
No, I don't want to die.
Okay, you stick by your word, though. I'll let them know.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna let them know. You know, don't hurt Andrea. You know, she's a nice girl. I am wanted for the death of Kaylee Sawyer at Bend, Oregon,
Okay.
and I am very
What a
remorseful.
weird
for that,
interaction.
And,
Okay.
I know her.
Edwin, are you able to stop the officers behind you? They don't know if you're running and stuff.
I'll slow down for them.
Okay, you're gonna slow down?
Yeah, I'm gonna slow down.
Okay.
You know, I don't want somebody else to get hurt.
Hey, Vacation Wolf.
So are you gonna stop?
Yeah, maybe. I will stop right now. I'm used. You know,
Hell yeah, brother. I'll think about it.
I understand. I
don't want to get shot.
So-
You know, I know this is being recorded, and you know, I just want to say to the family of Kaylee that you know I am sorry. I am sorry for what I did to her, and in time I will tell them where the body is. You know.
Do you wanna let me know, or just have this recorded where it is?
No, I remember.
Okay.
So, I mean, hopefully the police officer doesn't shoot me. Okay, I'll let you talk to Andrea.
Okay. Are you gonna stop?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop.
Okay. Once you stop, make sure they can see your hands at all
Yep.
time. Okay. Don't hang up.
I'm not.
Hello?
Yeah. Hi, Andrea. Are you
Hi.
okay? You don't need any medical or anything?
No.
Okay. Edwin, where's his gun at? Does he have it still between his legs?
I don't know.
Can you see it? He said he had it between his legs. Is he stopping?
Yeah.
He is stopping?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Make sure your hands are up too and stuff. I know you're on the phone right now, but just hold your hand up so they can see your hands too.
Okay.
Poor girl.
I'm going to stay on the line with you until the officers get there, okay? And you're going to be okay. Andrea?
Mm-hmm.
Does he have his hands up?
Yeah.
He does have his hands up? Okay.
He's already walking towards them.
Step over to your right. Step over to your right. Away from traffic. Drop down to your knees. Don't move.
It was just after 7 a.m. when Edwin Lara was arrested and taken into custody at the Redding Police Department in Northern California. He was brought into the interrogation room at 1 p.m. It was now exactly 60 hours after Kaylee had gone missing.
Hello, sir.
Hi,
My name is Sergeant Eckwood.
I'm Mac. Wait, I shouldn't introduce myself because you guys know me.
We know a little bit, right? So a couple things. We got some housekeeping items
Yeah,
to
I
talk
killed
about,
someone.
before we start talking about things. Those are going to be your Miranda rights and your right to a counselor. Okay. And then I wanted to talk to you, just to let you know where I'm coming from, because it sounds like you've done a lot of good things, even to this point. And so we're not really concerned about the NDA at this point. It's going to be about, finding her. Okay. So, but before we do that, do you have any questions for me on the onset before I advise you of some things? Because I'm going to advise you of your Miranda rights and your consular rights,
Okay.
right? Before we start talking about things at all. But as far as questions you have before we get into that, I'm a all my cards on the table kind of guy. Okay, I'm not going to come here and try to be all tricky or whatever. Detective McLaughlin's the same way. Okay.
Well, all I gotta say is that I want to go home.
Okay.
I'm gonna do everything possible to go home.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
home
don't
meaning
think you're
Oregon?
gonna be going home.
Okay.
Of course,
Because
go home, right?
yeah, we're working on that as well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we're working on.
Yeah.
You want us to notify the consular's
I don't
office?
think
at this
that's
time?
happening.
Okay. All right, so here's the thing. I just want to get through the nitty gritty. We have not been able to find Kaylee's body. Can you please help me find her body immediately before we start talking about anything else?
Um,
The reason why I'm asking you that is I I've done this a bunch of times.
I want to tell you where the body is.
Yeah.
I do. But I want to get home first.
Okay. So here's what I know about this. Hear me out, sir. We can't change what happened. The three of us in this room. And people will care more about what happens right now than what happened before. So we know that you've been talking to some people, et cetera, right? And because we have different jurisdictions, I can assure you that right now the DA's office is working on allowing us to take you back to Oregon, okay? But they're still working on that, okay? So in the meantime, we need to consider some things, okay? If this information gets to other people that you were like, hell yeah, I'm gonna tell you, but only until I get what I want, they might try to think of this about something different than what it is.
The suspect has stated his desire to be transferred back to Oregon, where his family is, and will only start talking once this is guaranteed. The detective's response is to induce fear. He starts attacking the suspect's character and alludes to the perceptions of others with regard to his character. This type of approach is typically used at the later stages of an interrogation, as building rapport is most often the main focus this early on. The most common approach at this moment would be for the officer to lie and tell the suspect they will do everything in their power to fulfill the request. However, the most common approach is not always the most effective.
Right. And so what I've determined is, and we've looked at this a bunch of times, is I don't think you're a bad guy.
The detective now elevates the suspect's character by what's known as reframing. He presents a different way of looking at the situation, which puts the suspect in a more favorable light. This is the perfect approach to take at this moment, yet the detective marginally slips up. He appears to get slightly aggravated once the suspect breaks eye contact and reverts back to a mild display of aggression.
Right? I think that things have spun completely out of control, sir. Sir, am I right? Okay.
The detective seems to have a hard time in concealing his disgust and anger. It's a slip of the mask, but fortunately isn't too drastic at this early stage.
But, that being said, you know from your training and your education that we have a massive load of resources right now dedicated to one thing. And that's to serve the victim's family, okay? And they need that. And they need that right now. And so, I need you to remember that it doesn't matter so much about what happened as what you do now.
Yeah, and you know this, man.
A man wants to do a map.
Just a big old dumper, you know?
So before, can I say the story what happened first?
Yeah, as you're drawing, please, or whatever you'd like to do, sir. I want us to get you out of that stuff.
Highway from, yeah.
It says, you'll see it right away.
Buried in the ditch.
Is it buried or?
It's not buried. It's
Just in the ditch itself?
It's just in the ditch.
Okay, it's outside the highway across from that mailbox. All right.
You're doing good, Edwin. You know what? This is not easy. I mean, you might be a little bit scared. We're going to hear what you have to say. We really, really want to. I'm thankful, and so is Sergeant Beckwith, that you know what the right thing to do is right now, and that's to help us locate her, for her family, for the community, for us, for you, for your wife, all that good stuff, okay? So I'm thankful to you. I want to say that right away, that you hear what this man has to say, and that you've got a heart inside of you. And I know, because I was in your house.
Who did he murder?
I saw the Bible. I know you thumped through it a lot. I see that you've tithed for months consecutively.
Who was walking home?
I know you have God in your heart, okay? And that's just not a trick. That's eternal, right? You know that. But I'm not talking about this moment. I'm talking about the big picture, okay? And so I appreciate your honesty.
So, what happened, man? What happened? Like the straight up, what happened?
So I was putting the signs up where there was an event going on.
It's
a college. It's cyclist event or whatever. You know, I was in a hurry because I want to get out of here. And I was going to turn south on College Way on the D4 lot. So I was going to turn south on the do not enter area there.
It's worth noting that investigators had already come up with their own detailed account of what most likely happened, which was that Edwin offered Kaylee a ride, and that she trusted him because of his occupation and the vehicle he was driving. Once she got in, he drove to a secluded area, raped her, and then murdered her with the rock that was found in his shed. They will entertain his version of events to start with, but then push for further admission once they attain his baseline narrative.
And
Why is Jesus always brought up? Because it's a pretty
back.
compelling thing for religious folks.
So I was in a hurry, so it was my fault. And I wasn't expecting anybody, at that time of night, so I just turned and I didn't hit her that hard. I just bumped her with the patrol car, bumped her with the front rack. And she fell down, and at first I thought, first thing I was, I killed her, but I didn't hit her that hard. So I got off the car, and she was really drunk.
Yeah, it sounds legit.
And then she looks at me, and then she started screaming.
She started screaming
Yeah.
or you did?
She did. So I panicked, and I just grabbed her by the throat and told her, shut up, shut up, shut up. She passed out. Put her on the back of the patrol car, drove her up the B12 lot, and then I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. She already seen me. She saw my face. So I opened the door, and that's when she came back. She started screaming again. So I grabbed the chokehold, and I was telling her, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. She was just struggling to scream. So I threw her down and I hit her with a rock on the head. After that, I dragged her body behind the tree there and I hit her with another rock.
Yeah, we're covering crimes, skin slip.
And that's
Who's the girl in the car? A
think
girl
she died
he
because I heard
kidnapped.
her breathing. Her last breath.
He goes on to state that he left her body in the deserted parking lot, goes home to wash his clothes, drives back with his personal car, wraps her body in a plastic sheet, and puts her in the trunk.
So what happened next?
So I drove her to a ditch by close to my parents' house, and she was kind of heavy, so I just grabbed her and pretty much ripped everything off her, like her clothes. I threw her in the ditch.
He goes home, but then returns soon after to move the body to a more secluded location.
And at this time I was feeling really bad, because I've never killed anybody, and I feel really bad about her, about the girl. She didn't deserve to die. And I was feeling really bad about what I went to. Because she's my everything. And I know that most likely I will die in prison, And that's gonna be one of the things that I'm gonna take in my heart. Is love. And the regret of killing this girl. And I know this is being recorded, and apologize to the parents. To the dad, I know the dad has been looking for her non-stop. I apologize. She looked like a really nice girl, and she didn't deserve what I did to her. I woke up with this thing in my heart, like heavy, and I'm like, so I knew that from the moment I told my wife she's going to turn me in, because I know her. And she loves her job and she loves what she's doing now. I knew she was going to do it, no matter how much she loves me. So I told her with that purpose. I told her, I killed this girl. I'm gonna walk out of here. I'm gonna drive out of here. You do your thing. She's like, why are you putting me in that spot? I'm like, because I know you're gonna do the right thing. I know you're not gonna be my accomplice because you're not that type of woman. So she kept telling me, please don't leave. Just turn yourself in. And I'm like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison.
He recounts the events leading up to the morning he left the roadside motel with his abductee, Andrea.
I mean, I knew that sooner or later I was going to get caught. And you know, for a fact. You know, and
You was trying to buy some time?
I was trying to buy some time so I can say bye to my family, I guess.
Did you talk to your family after this?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Not so good. My grandpa told me that I screwed up my life.
Yeah.
My mom and dad couldn't believe it. Or my stepdad, I should say. He's like my dad. Couldn't believe it. You know, they were very concerned about me.
A large middle segment of the footage was cut. For whatever reason, the district attorney refused to release it. But what we know is that the investigators managed to get Edwin to drastically change his story. He goes from stating that he accidentally ran the victim over to now intentionally picking her up. He claims to have thought she was a prostitute, tried to solicit her for sex, and then panicked once she refused and affirmed that she was in fact a student. He said that he initially tried to make sure that she wouldn't call the police before letting her go, and that she then started screaming once he wouldn't let her out of the car, at which point he panicked and thought he had no other choice but to kill her. He goes on to state that he first got into the back and choked her unconscious. He then took her to a secluded parking lot and then bludgeoned her to death with a rock. There was no mention of sexual assault. The fact that he thought she was a sex worker is highly implausible, as prostitution in the area was unheard of, whereas drunken students walking home was a common occurrence, and they would often get a ride from public safety officers if they were to pass one. The suspect would have known that a young woman staggering home was most likely a drunk student, as opposed to a prostitute. The detectives know this, and now try to push for the next step of admission. They attempt to get him to admit that his immediate intention was to both rape and murder the victim as soon as he saw her walking alone on the road.
So a couple things you need to understand, and we're finally getting to the real problem here, we really are, is you knew she was never getting out the car the moment you...
Oh yeah, guys, like, they're lying to him, like, non-stop. Yeah. The police interrogators are not your friends, and they're not there to, like, tell you what your rights are. They're there to get you to confess. That's what they're there to do. I need to use the bathroom, but I'll be right back. Yeah, they're basically not allowed to tell you the truth. They're paid to lie to you. I'll leave this playing while I go poop.
You shut that door. Well, let me finish. You need to let me finish, right? Because I know this, okay? Because you said you were a hooker. She's like, no. Immediately, you go to give me your purse and your phone.
Well, I knew she wasn't going to get out.
She wasn't going to survive that encounter, was she?
No.
Because you can't rape her and let her live, can you?
And she can't make a phone call if you have it.
I wasn't going to rape her.
Well, you can't let her live.
Edwin, we're missing something here, man.
Look. Yeah, I know what you guys are thinking, and it makes perfect sense. It does.
Because
why would you ask for her purse? What was in your head that made you want her purse?
Because, you know,
just in case she had a gun, she could defend herself.
In case she was gonna use her phone
to call 911. Call for help.
So, but listen to this. According to your story, this is where it does not make sense. If your intent isn't already there to do some kind of harm or some kind of evil to her, some friggin' evil that's there, bro. It's there. You just gotta face it down, man. You can't cower away from it. You face that damn thing down right now. If you know the only way, if you don't have intent in her head, your thought is, I gotta keep that phone away from her because she's gonna call from help before anything bad's even happened. You've already made a decision. Am I right or am I wrong? Help me.
So I made the decision at that time to silence her.
To kill her. Let's be real. When you say silence her, you mean kill her. Is that correct?
Okay. Because
When did you make that decision?
when she started screaming, because she had seen my face.
But you already grabbed her phone. You already kept her away from making a call for help or contacting someone. So you're already preserving yourself. So I'm thinking it's before, when you ask for the purse, I think you already know in your head, I'm going to silence her. I'm going to kill her. Why else would you ask?
So when she gave me her, like she had her phone, because I knew her phone was back there. Like it just clicked on my head, and I put her purse back there. Her phone is in there, you know. So I told her, give me purse. So she hands over the purse, and I'm like, your phone is not in here. And she goes, yes, it is. So I start digging in the purse with this hand, and I find the phone, and it's there. So, and you know, very relieved. But at this time, she's struggling with the door, and I'm telling her, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
You know why you felt relieved when you found that phone? You know why? Tell me why you felt
She
relieved.
wasn't calling her up
And she was never gonna get away.
because she had seen my face already.
You just already seen her face. And you already knew what you were gonna do.
No.
You were gonna silence her. You already told us that.
Well, yeah, but
Why else would you grab her phone?
because from the moment, that's when I knew that she wasn't a hooker. You know,
And she's gonna tell. She's gonna say something.
if I let her out of the car, she's gonna go say, hey, you know, security guard raped me or something.
Do you have dominion over a woman?
Dominion?
Mm-hmm. Dominant. Is there anything about her life that means less than yours?
No.
Okay.
But you told us earlier when you were trying to carjack people in Salem, you wanted a woman who was weaker.
Weaker woman, because I knew a guy was gonna fight me and I didn't want to kill anybody.
Right? So you have dominion.
I don't
What
necessarily.
I guess what I'm getting at with that question is that at some point or another, something as minor as an offensive comment, are you a hooker? I mean, honestly, what we've approached there is you possibly losing your job for offending somebody. Okay, people are offended every day. People lose their job for offending people every day. That all of a sudden became more important than the life of a human being that you say is equal.
I think
This is a very bizarre set of questions, especially considering what the detectives are trying to achieve. They are attempting to get the suspect to confess to first-degree murder with special circumstances, along with rape in the first degree. By attacking his character like this, and alluding to his supposed warped view on women, he will be unlikely to give further admission. It's more likely to get his guard back up and make him focus on preserving what he has left of his reputation. The detectives should instead be downplaying the crimes. They should be reframing his motives as both understandable and uncontrollable, almost as if premeditated rape and murder could be committed by anyone on a bad day.
she honestly thought that I was gonna do something.
You were, man. Edwin, that's
Because-
the problem. Right now, you were. You absolutely
At first I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
Well,
Sir.
let me back up. Let's just settle this right now. When you saw that girl and you picked her up, were your intentions to help her because you're a security guard on the campus and people look up to you? Was your intent to find some way to help her? Or was your intent to find a way to help her, either by paying for sex or taking sex? And when things went south, you knew you had to kill her because now the person she looks to for safety and security wants something from her that she doesn't want to give him.
Once again, instead of downplaying the crimes, he lays out the scene in a blunt manner. He makes his disgust at the alleged conduct far too noticeable when he should be remaining indifferent at minimum. Some investigators would even be able to feign companionship and sympathy at this moment, which would significantly increase the likelihood of further admission.
So when I picked her up, because usually when we help someone, we call her on the radio.
Did you call her on the radio?
No, because I thought she was over. And when I realized she wasn't up there, I felt discovered. Oh, crap. Now she's gonna go tell the whole world that I was looking for sex.
Oh, wow, how weird would that be for a dude to be looking for sex? See what I'm saying? And that's not that bad.
Dudes
right?
look for sex.
Dudes look for sex.
Well, yeah, but not a security guard that is supposed to protect.
Well, I think you just said it, man.
Another random dude walking the street.
So are we lucky in the fact that the first time you can't control your urge to have sex with a beautiful woman?
Bloop, bloop, bloop.
We catch you.
The sound that you heard
Hello, lovely.
after the strike of the first rock, before you hit her with the second, is agonal breathing, and you know this. It's the sound of life leaving her body. It's the sound of the life God breathed into her.
Yes, my chairs
Leaving
are
her.
engaged in a
And her
permanent
life
lightsaber
being
battle.
no more, going away, being done. It's the sound of everyone loving her, mourning. It's the sound of her blood crying out from the freaking
Phalanges.
right? You know this.
Hello,
You need to
Hell's
hear it though.
Fortune.
Okay, I respect you
Cutie
enough, Edwin,
chatter
at this
you.
point that I've asked you for detail, and now I'm going to give you my own. Okay, those are the cold hard facts. Does God still love you? Will He forgive you? Will He bring you back into His heart? Will He?
This is actually quite a
Johnny?
good strategy, as the suspect is highly religious, yet the focus should be kept on this element as opposed to the magnitude of the crime, which the detective for some reason continues to incorporate into the dialogue.
Questions you have to answer for yourself.
Which played, it's
But
not
the
fun
truth
for me
of the
to
matter
debate
is
Nazis,
that her blood
but
cries
also
out, man.
this stuff is a lot.
That her life is gone. It will never be replaced. The truth of the fact is this.
That's
that
why we'll
mistook
watch
for a
Botany
hooker
Crimes
was an
after
absolute
this.
angel. Was the apple of her mom and dad's eye. Was the breath that they breathed, that they spent and cultivated all their life raising and growing. And she is gone forever with your semen all over her.
Although the detective's approach is somewhat miscalculated, this is a highly revealing moment, as there is no denial whatsoever from the suspect about his semen being on the victim.
That's the truth, man. Okay? It's brutal. It's hard to say.
Thank
It's hard
you,
to sit
Hell's
in here,
Fortune.
but you gotta face it before you can look your God in the eye and ask for that forgiveness and be able to receive it.
The investigators get no further admission from this moment on. This enabled the suspect to eventually take a plea deal in order to avoid the death penalty in 2017. They needed a confession of either rape or attempted rape to remove any sort of leverage from his defense. His sentencing hearing commenced on January 22nd, 2018.
This morning, 32-year-old Edwin Lara pleaded guilty to aggravated murder in the death of 23-year-old Kaylee Sawyer. This plea deal means he will avoid a possible death sentence. Amy Frazier is live in Bend, where she's been at that hearing. Amy?
Well, Kaylee Sawyer's family and friends have packed a courtroom here today as they face her killer. There's been both tears and intense anger as they tell the judge how Kaylee's murder has impacted their lives. At about 9:30 this morning, 32-year-old Edwin Lara pleaded guilty to 1 count of aggravated murder. He went on a multi-state crime spree, kidnapping a woman in Salem and then driving to California, where he's accused of shooting a man and then carjacking a family before being caught. This morning, Kaylee's grandfather told the court he has 3 wishes.
Number 1, to have our Kaylee back with us, alive and well, and pursuing her life. Number 2, I'd wish to have this piece of garbage, the defendant, sentenced to death for what he's done to my Kaylee. And number 3, I wish the court system in the state of Oregon would just hand him over to me and allow me to administer the death sentence.
Kaylee's mom also spoke today, calling Laura a monster. More family and friends will speak later this afternoon. The judge is expected to sentence him later today or tomorrow. We just found out a little while ago that the judge has sentenced Edwin Lara to spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of release, without the possibility of parole. In July of 2016, Kaylee went for a late night walk. Lara, who was working as a security guard at Central
Lugard,
Oregon
thank you for the
Community
follow.
College, lured and trapped her in the back seat of his patrol car.
Yeah, Jay, both
Prosecutors
these
say he
are
took her purse and phone and
fascinating
drove
and
her to a
disturbing.
remote
It's a
parking lot
perfect way of
on
describing
campus.
them.
Prosecutors say he sexually assaulted her, and Kaylee fought for her life. Lara then, we're told, used a large rock to kill her and then dumped her body off the highway near Redmond. Now, just before being sentenced today, Laura addressed Kaylee's family and the court.
God Almighty, who art in heaven, all the believers tonight, I'll ask you to please heal the hearts, all those broken hearts of this community.
I don't know where the body is, but I
All along, Kaylee's family has said they want her to be remembered for the joy and the love that she brought to life. They say justice is now served, but it doesn't ease their pain. Again, Edwin Lara will spend the rest of his life in prison without, we're told, any chance of ever getting out. Reporting live in
Good.
Deschutes County, Amy Frazier, KOIN 6 News.